We are live. All right. Um. Da, 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 da. No, I need to mute that. There we go. All right. Um. Now I'm just waiting for my other people. Um. Who I know are coming. Just gonna send them a quick message because I have a new laptop. Yay! Riveting live stream where you can watch me typing messages. Okay. I am live streaming right now. Well, I was gonna, what should I name my horse? Please go out. You can ask me about that after. If anybody in the live stream has a brilliant idea of what he should name his horse in his video game, let me know. We have a Karen. At least we have a Karen's name.
I'm here. I'm here.
Yay! Welcome in. And you beat Lisa again.
Surprising. I know.
I'm concerned, honestly.
Hmm. But all I know is that I was literally about to hit join, and then my husband hollered at me, so I had to wait an extra minute because I had to answer a question.
Well,
So
okay, hold on a second. Does it change my voice at all if I do this?
I don't think so. It doesn't sound
Okay.
different.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Are you waiting to
I'm
hear
pretty
something?
sure that it's going through my laptop instead of my headphones, even though I told it to go through my headphones. But I have a
Lovely.
new laptop.
Yay!
So it has, the actual ability to,
Do what it needs to.
yeah, use the microphone, among other things. All right.
Oh.
There. I just had my boot paint. Where did I set it? I just had a boot in my hand to paint. Aha! I found it. I am capable of losing an entire boot while sitting at my desk.
Yeah, it sounds puzzle. I don't know where Lisa is. I did talk to her about an hour ago. So no
Yeah, I
idea
know
where
she
she is.
responded earlier when you were asking about stuff we
Oh,
were doing. So,
she asked about it because I was supposed to, but I was half asleep when she asked me to ask you. So it's been an interesting day. Okay, I had to go wake up early, go get my tire fixed because it had a hole in it, so I needed a patch.
I think, um,
It's a long day.
sometimes when you have a group chat, it will pop up as being like, there's a thing in the chat with this person and that person. Oh, she just said she's running late, but she'll be here spawn. I think it's supposed to say soon.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, she asked about it, but I think my notification said that it was in the chat with Lisa and Karen, or Karen and Lisa, or however it popped up. My brain registered the name Karen, and I saw that Lisa had sent the thumbs up after, but I thought that you had actually sent the question.
oh no, I sent the thumbs up after.
No,
I know
you
it's
both
both
did, but she
we
did
both
first.
sent the thumbs up. I don't know.
Yeah, you both did, but she did first and then you did. But I had my brain had registered it as Karen asked the question. So I don't even need to see you two. In fact, I can tell you two apart better when I can see you two and not mix you up than when I can't. Live
Yeah.
stream. No.
Sounds about right.
Because they're out of the fridge when I come out after.
Hmm.
Because I have
Choosing
mad skills,
colors.
yeah. I also have paint that doesn't want to open.
Give me 3 colors that match or like go well together.
I need more context than that.
The
Like,
bracelet I have has a braid theme, which means I need 3 colors that look good together, not like a fade color, but like
okay, like 3 general like color of the rainbow colors, or like I like, you know, purple and like a silver and black together personally.
I don't have
Um,
all I have for silver is kind of this white silver. And I have 3 separate purples.
oh, hang on a second, I'll grab my what is the word? Not bracelet jewelry that I was working on so I can show you. Um, I was timing myself. I was hoping to be able to do it for Pixie Elegance, but the length of time it takes me to do one, I would either have to like charge way more than somebody's going to pay for what is essentially a friendship bracelet or necklace.
Yeah, like these
But
turtles, I have
but I
to
really
charge like $5 a turtle, and not many people will pay $5 for a turtle that cute.
I would. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab that so I can show you. You can, talk to the stream and keep people entertained.
Hey, stream. So I'm working on a new bracelet design. You know me, I am always doing beaded bracelets on here. So these are the 3 purples I'll show you before she gets back. Got a lilac, kind of a purpley, and kind of a pinky. Actually, this one I think is pink lined light blue. So they have lots of colors, and that's the closest to silver I've got. It's kind of a silver lined white. It's closest. I got black. I got so many colors too. I've got like so this is copper, and then I have bronze. Yeah, just have my finger right in the way there. That works. Bronze and copper. And I've got gold. I need more orange. This is the only tone of orange that I have. I use it for carrots, for Easter earrings.
We have Elisa.
We have Elisa? When did she get here?
So this
She's
is one that I had done. It's really
Oh, the like the green and the tan and the white and the oh yeah, I like that.
Is that the one that you posted last night on your
it's
picture?
it's no, this is the first one that I had done, but it was partway done, so I couldn't use it for timing myself.
Oh, okay.
So but I do them so they have a point so that I can like hang something from them
It'll
um
stay roughly in
like
the
as a
front.
charm, and then it like comes down to a point and then goes back up.
Very nice.
So this is the one that I was working on timing myself because I wanted it to match that one, but it didn't have the exact colors still.
I unfortunately have no brown. I have like a green and I have a yellowy white and I have black, but I don't have a brown.
So they're really
I
really
have
similar.
bronze, but I don't want to use my bronze because that's expensive. One of my
So
most expensive
hi.
things.
So you're working on that design,
Yep.
that braid design thing you were talking about. I'm working on painting my boot more.
I'm working on my temperature scarf.
Nice.
I haven't really been doing much, but I'm working on this.
And
Okay.
we had a story about a firebrand. And a firebrand.
Yes, chapter 6 that we didn't get to last week time.
I got it. Yellow, pink, and green.
There you go.
Just randomly ripping apart some plastic to use as a palette. Don't mind me.
All right, so chapter 6.
Yep. So,
It's titled Dan, if I remember correctly.
nope. It's titled The Firebrand.
Really? I think mine was titled Dan. I can't get to it because it's on my phone. So,
It was
how
about a
about
boy, Dan.
yeah, I think mine was titled Dan in mine. Different editions, different titles.
That just seems weird to me.
Yes, that does seem really weird.
Firebrand.
You're right. It does say Firebrand on yours.
Which is on Project
I didn't
Gutenberg.
think you were lying, I promise.
What?
I didn't think you were lying, I promise.
No, I
Is yours
know.
titled Dan as well, or do you not remember?
I just think it's funny. What?
I'm asking Lisa's what hers was titled.
I'm listening to the audiobook. If I try and look back, it just says chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3.
That's
Doesn't
funny.
tell her.
I mean, the audio will tell me if I listen, but if I try to look at the chapters, it just says chapter 1.
You have to actually pay attention.
Yeah.
So I lifted my camera up a little bit today. I don't know if that helps, but I did lift it up a little bit today. Not very much. It's like a whole half a foot, like 2 or 3 inches higher.
That makes
I
a
think that's a
difference,
good angle.
actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I have all the books on my desk stacked in front of my screen, just like
Just
yeah,
don't worry
that's pretty
about
much
it.
what I do.
one of these days
So,
I'll get my webcam back set up and I'll have it on top of my computer again. One of these days.
That's what I'm hoping to do.
all right. So, yeah, Dan is newbie,
Friend,
sort of on accident.
so
That's like, you like taking in poor boys and helping them, so I figured that you'd want to take in another poor boy and help him. And Joe's like, not
yeah, they're kind of like
how this works, but
circumstances. But sure, why not? Let's give it a shot.
yeah, basically.
She doesn't want to just say no.
I mean, because he's already there.
How do you just say no to that kid trying so hard to be helpful for his friends?
Right? Not
And
just
ask
trying to
Joe,
help.
how does she turn away a boy in need of her help? Like, who's standing right there?
Yeah, but she looks at him, she can obviously tell he's got an attitude problem. It's the first thing you see. He's got attitude, no manners.
Make it to 14 pretty much being raised
On the street.
streets, like with just the rough and tumble guys that live on the streets, work on the streets all around you. Like, what else are you possibly going to learn?
Nothing
He
good.
learned to take care of himself, is what he did.
Yep.
But
He learned toxic masculinity. Um, so yeah, I think the particularly frustrating thing with him is that he has a good heart and
Yeah, he's
he
bad.
just had learned how to keep it hidden because you can't be seen as soft on the streets. So yeah, he got there, and Nat's all excited to have this boy who helped him out. Did they ever explain how he helped him out?
Um, my guess is he helped him out with the fiddle, with his fiddle playing, like finding places for him to fiddle play or some. I don't know.
Okay.
It didn't really say. I assumed it helped him learn the ways of the street, but
Or to safe places to go on the street.
yeah,
That's kind of
good
what I
places to
figured,
sleep, good
something like
places to
that, but
dumpster that.
I couldn't remember if it actually said or not.
I don't think it did.
But in some way, he had helped Nat on the street, and Nat wanted to help him in return. And Joe didn't want to disappoint Nat. And I kind of want to just be like, and long story short, Plumfield almost burned down. So there we go.
Right.
A few things happened in between there.
So I'm trying to remember because I didn't reread it this week. What the first incident was. Was it?
Well, the very first thing was when they went into the circus that the boys were putting on in the barn. And when I think it was Tommy did somersaults as part of his act.
Yeah.
He's just like, that's nothing. And then they were like,
Yeah, show us better.
say that again. And he immediately like jumps down, like, what, you want to fight? And there's like, no, I want to know if you think you can do better. And so he does better. And then he's like, oh, can you teach me how to do that? And so he convinces him to pay him with his pocket knife that has 5 blades and only one of them's broken. um, so he took it and was like, yep, just keep practicing until you get it. And started to walk off. And because the other boys were like, yeah, no, that's not going to fly, they decided to play some sort of game to see who could win the knife, but I didn't really understand what the game was. They just called it stick knife. And my best
Yeah.
guess was maybe dropping the knife to get it to stick up right out of the dirt. But I don't actually know. I was just going by the word stick and knife.
I don't know much more.
And so then the other boys decided that they didn't like him. Nat felt like he was responsible for him, and he was not especially fond of having such a burden as that. And then was there something else before the bull? Which wasn't
I
the
feel
bull,
like
it
it
was
was
the
because
cow.
the bull's the one they didn't say anything about. The bull's the one they kept quiet. That was the third one.
Yeah, what was the second one?
Yeah, do you remember?
I don't. Was there an incident in the school classroom, like he wasn't doing his work, or?
He just generally was not, like, didn't have a lot of gratitude, but they kept working with him because little Teddy loved him and he was really kind to animals. And they were like, if he's kind to animals and the baby loves him, who is a pretty good test of character. It was the boxing lesson.
Oh yeah.
So they were like, well, if baby loves him and he's kind
Yeah,
to
the Fight
animals,
Club
then we
kind
should
of
give
thing.
him
Like, no, don't
more of
talk
a
about
chance.
Fight Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Fight Club.
And since Mr. Bear wouldn't let them fight, he took them behind the barn to teach them to fight. And they were like, kind of just generally learning from him, except the other 14, 15-year-old, whatever he was, that was like, well, you want to do this, I'm gonna actually fight. So they got into an actual fight, boxing match, playing Gladiwhatsits. And Mr. Bear came and broke them up. And it was at that point when he assumed that he was going to be kicked out that he realized he actually didn't want to be.
Yeah.
But gave him another chance. Told him that he would only get one more chance. And then
There
they
was the
tried
ball incident.
Yep, they went looking for cutting rods to be new fishing poles. And Debbie just made some casual comment about how, again, I think it was Tommy, that Tommy's involved in a lot of this.
Yeah, I feel like
Well-
Tommy's definitely the one to go along with things.
Yeah. Looked like he could be sitting up riding a bull with the way that he was sitting on their donkey. And Dan was like, hey, that's a great idea. Why don't you go fight the cow, essentially? And so they Demi tried to talk them out of it. But they went and did it and ended up hurting the cow and making her jump over the fence and run off. And then they had to go chase her, and then she had gotten hurt. And actually, now that I'm saying it, that's the one where he realized that he actually didn't want to be sent away, because then Mr. Bear came in to talk to him and was basically like, you really disappointed us. Which, disappointed.
I know.
Worst.
Nothing worse than disappointment.
Nothing worse. And he's like, for Mother Bear's sake, we're going to give you one more chance because she asked me to. I'll give you one more chance. And he tried, but he's not used to having restrictions on himself, and he got bored. And the other thing I think that particularly got him in that whole conversation was, you're not, one of the reasons that we thought we could maybe have some success with you after all is because you've been kind to animals, and you disappointed us in that. And knowing that he had caused the animals be hurt, when that was one of the things that they liked about him, was that he didn't harm animals. So they gave him his one more chance, and he got bored and somehow managed to get beer and a cigar and decided to teach Nat and Tommy,
Poker.
always Tommy, how
Well,
to play
Tommy
poker.
has a mischievous streak. We knew this from the beginning.
I mean, yes.
He's easily influenced.
He's easily influenced. He's very rough and tumble, and he's super accident prone. Not the best combination. Heart of gold, brain of fool's gold. So They were smoking the cigar, and somehow nobody smelled that. That confused me, but um
Yeah, you think Mr. Bear would have remembered the smell since he used to smoke until
well,
Mother Bear asked him
he
not
wasn't
to.
back until
Wasn't there,
the
Karen?
next morning when
They
things had
went
already
out
caught on fire. But like Asia went into the bedroom
and didn't smell it.
and
Yeah.
didn't smell that. Did anything have been happening in there?
Yeah, that got me too. I was like, wait, she
Yeah, I
didn't
was like, the
smell it?
smell is gonna get him. I thought that too, but
I'm glad I'm not the only one who wondered. Um, because I was like, I'm so sensitive to it because I'm allergic to it. So I'm like, am I like imagining that? Is it not strong enough that the average person would just notice that that's there when it's not usually?
I have noticed that people who like maybe I don't know if I don't think Asia would have smoked cigars
I
um
doubt it.
because Mr. Bear didn't really like that in the house.
Yeah,
So, but I do know that people that usually are someone who smokes or something, they're so accustomed to the smell, they actually can't smell it.
right.
if they're
And that
around
I
the
could see.
smell a
Good.
lot.
But there was nobody in that situation that would be that used to the smell.
Unless
So,
she like hung out around people who smoked a lot when she's not at work or something.
or
I
maybe
mean,
she thought just the chimney was funny. I don't know.
maybe. Oh, one of those boys threw some leaves in the fire.
Yeah, something like that, you know?
Um, Definitely possible. Um,
Because we
so
were talking about times where they lived with stoves in like every room, pretty much.
yeah, as opposed to now where here in Maine we just have them in most houses. Not mine, but most. More
My
than half.
house is too flammable.
But
My house is too flammable.
Yeah.
I'm too flammable. No, I'm allergic to the smell of wood smoke too.
Oh,
Um,
lovely.
I'm allergic to wood smoke. I'm more allergic to cigarette smoke. I am most allergic to pot smoke. Um, anyway, so she tucked them in after Demi had woken up and discovered that was it Nat or Tommy
Tommy gone. Yep.
wasn't in his bed. Um and went looking for them, was all worried, and or looking for him and was all worried, but he like went running back to his bed and popped into bed like, oh, they won't even know what happened when they get back and I'm already here. Only for his hand to be burned from the cigar that was still in his hand. So he tried to snuff it out and tossed it under the bed. And
Into the hay.
that's the part that confuses me about her not smelling it. Like it's still smoldering under the bed. But at any rate, um, so when little side story here, since we've got plenty of time, since this is the only one we're covering today. Not that that's ever stopped me from side stories before. But they when I was in middle school, I probably was in sixth grade, maybe seventh grade. I think I was in sixth grade. Um, they, my family, we'd had a shirt fall behind the dryer that we didn't know was behind the dryer. And the dryer was running. It was like the middle of the night, but I think either my father was still up or had set it to run right before going to bed, but woke back up because he smelled it or something. He was always very light sleeper. Um, so it started smoldering. And so we all got out of the house. Well, he went trying to figure out where the smoke's coming from, and had called the fire department. They were already on their way. And he found the shirt and he grabbed it and he ran through. We had a fairly big kitchen and dining room in this old like farmhouse that we lived in at the time. And the laundry room was on the other side of the kitchen. And he got it out and ran through the kitchen and the dining room and out the front door and it burst into flame in his hand, but it didn't burn him, thankfully. Burst into flame like as he was coming out, and he threw it onto the driveway. House did not catch fire. Granted, this was not a house with a wood stove. The chimney was cracked and would have had to have insane amounts of repairs to ever possibly use the stove that technically existed there. But I just keep thinking about that and what that smelled like and how we could smell it through the whole entire farmhouse that we lived in. And I keep going, like, I just can't imagine walking into the bedroom. I mean, Nat had specifically said he could sleep in the barn because it wasn't too cold out anymore, so I doubt they'd had the fire going in the boys' bedrooms or anything. That's where my brain keeps getting hung up on logic. Anyway, everything was fine. My house did not burn down. Nobody was injured. The shirt was lost. My sister
I'm sure it
mourned the
was.
loss.
Yeah.
My sister mourned the loss of one of her favorite shirts, but other than that, all told, it was not too bad. I was gonna try to do more with that rose, but I kind of like the sort of impressionistic
Yeah.
look of it.
I like that.
I've got
It is a nice
the
rose.
leaves done. So yeah, it smoldered, it caught the hay on fire. And Tommy had been drinking beer and was not awake enough. And it was smoky, and the smoke subdued Demi more, and he didn't wake up. And they would have burned to death, except that Fritz was still up, which is, he was like, what, 16, 18? Something like that.
Who?
Fritz. He
The
is
nephew.
the nephew,
Oh,
or one of the two nephews.
you say Fritz, and that's what Joe used to call Mr. Bear. So sorry.
No, his name's Franz. It's Franz. Mr. Bear's name was Franz, I think.
I think so.
Oh, I thought we called him Fritz.
No,
Anyway,
we're talking about a book.
They're very similar,
He's
Fritz
still
and
out.
Franz. I have a hard time figuring out which one they're talking about when they do that.
Anyway,
maybe
however
Franz
old
is
he
the
is,
nephew. Anyway, one
he
of
was
them.
awake and studying, and generally being the older kid who's high school life,
Right.
college life, whatever it is. Either way, I remember being awake and studying. And awake and not studying too. And he smelled the smoke, realized something was wrong, went running, and was so focused on just do what you gotta and rescue them that he didn't even make a noise. He just ran in and pulled them out. But of course, you should go out while I'm live streaming. Out. Okay. 9-year-olds.
Mm.
So, yeah. So he was busy trying to fight the flames. The boys were screaming, which brought Joe out into the hallway, which brought somebody else out. I think it was the other nephew.
Yeah.
Who was the first one to actually sound the alarm of fire.
Yeah.
And I mean, granted, it had probably all happened within seconds, and everybody was focused on rescue people. But I'm like, how has nobody else shouted fire yet?
Right.
And so they got the towels and the everything they needed and put out the fire.
Yeah, the fire
And
departments weren't as fast and efficient as they are today.
didn't even exist in all places. Um, and they sent the boys with Asia or Nanny, one of those two,
Yeah.
um,
I
to
I
be
have a
done
hard time
with.
keeping the side characters like the
You
I
can't keep the
don't
boys
want to call
straight.
them house help people, but like I have a hard time keeping them straight.
The additional employees.
Yes.
The
um,
workings of the
Nanny, the
house.
cook.
at any rate, they were tending to the wounds, the boys who had gotten burned, and they Joe made sure everybody did what they needed to and got the fire out, and then went to see how the boys are doing. And Demi just has a Demi burn. Um, just has a little burn. Um, and poor Tommy, who was in the bed, um,
I know I can't imagine the kind of burns he suffered.
his hair was mostly singed off, and he had some more serious burns that from the sounds of how he was howling, I would say would probably have him at least overnight in the hospital today. So without, analgesic and such that we have now, I can only imagine how awful that would be then.
I imagine, yeah, he was probably in the nursery healing for quite a while, for a few weeks, I'm sure.
Burn pain is some of the worst pain for sure.
Yeah.
Um, and um, so they got back the next day, and little Teddy had been sick. That's why they figured they could get away with this, because Mother Bear was in nursing him. So when they got back, when Papa Bear got back, the he came home to, well, one of the rooms destroyed and two of the boys injured, and his toddler still hacking away from a terrible cough that he had already had, and everything in an uproar. Canceled school for the day, so there was that.
I would have too. I would have too.
Yeah, not even because of, I mean, the boys would not have been able to pay attention, but that wouldn't have even been my primary concern. No way could I be teaching anything that day.
Yeah, no.
Um,
That's a day for
and
assessing the kids in the house.
yeah, and so they yeah, finished that, and explained everything to him, and he was basically like, yeah, this kid gotta go,
But they
because
didn't just kick him out.
they
No,
didn't
they
they didn't
didn't.
exactly explain who this person was that they sent him to, though.
It
It was
sounded like
somebody.
someone who was more experienced with troubled boys.
That's kind of my impression. But
Cool.
he also said where he can't harm anybody while others can do good for him.
I think it was out in the country.
Yeah. I think it was out in the country, but I think it was also, It seems like the sort of thing that would be like, you know, a Disney Channel original movie today where a kid is, sent to his family's farm and, learns how not to be a spoiled brat. Sounded like that sort of tough love kind of a thing was my impression.
Yeah.
But they didn't really explain it that much. That's just what I assumed it was.
And
Yeah.
they really didn't want to send them. Like they both thought maybe we should give him one more chance. But they said no, we told him one more chance and
Twice.
he's had 4.
He's had 2 one more chances.
Yeah. No, I mean he's had 4 chances.
4 chances total. Yeah. No. Yeah, I wasn't correcting you. We were just both saying 2 different things at the same time. Oh.
Yeah. And then
Um,
they got a letter at first saying he was starting to do well. And then he ran away and never heard from him again.
And it broke both their hearts because they felt like maybe they should have just given him one more chance. But and I really feel for the Bear family in that situation because I understand you want them to succeed. You can see that they want to succeed, but
and you
they
can
literally
see the
keep getting in their
potential,
own
but
way.
also you can't let them be a danger to everybody else. And like, what do you do then?
They need to learn to not be in their own way. How do you teach them that, you know? Like
Yeah.
he's stopping himself from being better. You
Well,
can't.
and it's in ways that have been wittingly or unwittingly trained into him.
Yeah, it's how he's
You can't just
been
undo all
trained.
of that 14 years of damage to his mind. And he said he was about 14, and Joe said, "You look older." He's lived on the street his whole life. He could be older and just not actually know his exact age. Depending on what you're doing on the streets, on the one hand, if you can say that you're younger than you are, you can get more sympathy. But on the other hand, if you can say that you're older than you are, you can get more jobs. So
Yeah,
Yeah, and I
but
think
14
there's also
probably
the
was a
fact
good age to settle at.
there's also the fact that living on the streets is hard and ages you rapidly.
It does.
I think
Um,
the smoking and drinking didn't help his aging either.
Yeah, no, probably not. Good point.
so there's no clue to actually how old he actually was.
So yeah, he said he's 14. She said he looks older. I don't know if he was 14 and just looks older because of living on the streets, if he
But
was,
he was saying he looked younger, so she'd give him more of a chance.
or if he was actually 14 and wait, is that the one I already said?
I
14.
don't know.
I said all of it in my brain and then I forgot which part I said out loud.
He was actually 14
older
and
for
he
living
didn't
on
look
the
older,
street.
or he was
Older
saying
than
he was
14 but doesn't
14,
know how old he is.
or
Saying that
he's
he's
younger just for sympathy.
yeah. At
It's
any
just
rate,
so, you know, you can give someone all the chances in the world, but if they don't step up and take ownership and change themselves, then they're never going to get anywhere.
no, yeah,
And as much as Mr. and Mrs. Bear felt like maybe they should have given him another chance, I don't think one more chance would have helped. I don't think one more chance would have been the key to that kid's success.
nah. I
Um,
think also I think that it shows a very good balance in their relationship because when she's like begging like can't we just give him one more chance just once more and he's like no it's not a good idea but then later when he runs away and they're kind of regretting it and he's going maybe we should have given him one more chance and then she's the one saying no you were right it wasn't a good idea if and
yeah,
I think that it's something that my husband and I do frequently. And I think probably happens in a lot of relationships where like one person is supporting the other and then like, okay, when they're not needing support anymore, okay, now I can and then they're like, okay, it's my turn to step up and support. Um,
Yeah.
not that always works out perfectly, but I think that it's a good depiction of or a good
image of what happens in their relationship, that you can see it going both ways.
For sure. Me and my husband do that for sure.
Um,
Well, I'm not married.
I have a boyfriend.
But we
Oh, but
we
you're
we do a
not.
lot of give and take. My boyfriend and I, like, it's never 50, it's never exactly 50-50. Sometimes it's, 40-60, sometimes it's 80-20,
Right.
like we support each other, and sometimes
And it,
someone else has to carry the heavier load.
yeah, and it varies because
What's
what
going
somebody
on?
needs at a given time. Sometimes one
Exactly.
person needs more than the other right then.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Joe was kind of like, don't worry, I'm sure we'll see him again. But the
I think
day
that was just wishful thinking.
I think
I don't know. We haven't finished reading the book.
I was gonna say, I genuinely, I like, it's been somewhere between 15 and 20 years since the last time I read this book. And I truly do not remember um if he shows back up or not. Until I was reading the chapter, I didn't remember him in the first place. But that's been true of a lot of this book. It hasn't. I read it once as opposed to Little Women that I had read a couple times and grown up on the movie. So, and even then, I didn't remember everything from the book from Little Women because I couldn't remember what was in the book and what was in the movie. But this I don't have as ingrained in my brain in the first place. So I really, really don't remember if he shows back up or not. I hope he does. I want to see him again and have something good to happen for him. Have him learn and turn out better. He just needed a tougher way of learning it. But I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
like,
yeah, I'd like to see that as like a storybook ending, but that doesn't always happen realistically.
It doesn't, and I think Louisa May Alcott was good at including those realistic things.
that you
So
can
I'm
lead
not
a whole
counting on it, but I'm still
Yeah,
hoping.
I honestly don't know.
can't teach people to get out of their own way.
No.
Can't teach me to get out of my own way.
Uh, I'm working on myself and getting on my own way. I'm working on it.
Oh, I'm always working on it.
Well,
It's the succeeding at it part that
I've always known that I hyper focus, for example. Um, but it has been relatively recently, like over the past couple of months, that I've been noticing and been told that I have a tendency to hyper focus in the wrong areas, according to other people.
which sometimes what other people say are the wrong areas is just because it doesn't resonate with them, and other times they can help notice something about you that you hadn't
Right.
noticed. So then you have to weigh that.
Right. The debate isn't whether they're right or wrong, just that I do hyperfixate a lot. So on things that aren't necessarily in my control. So I've been working really hard on making sure that I hyper focus less. If I feel myself getting that tension build up of hyper focusing, I now have a phrase I say to myself to help me to back off in home and in work life.
Right?
So you can work on yourself even if you're old.
You're not old. Cut that out. You are and always will be younger than I am. So don't call yourself old. I won't allow it.
Yeah, I won't, considering we're the same age and I don't consider myself old, you can't call yourself old.
I
You're
feel
not
old.
the same age though. You're like minutes older than she is, Karen.
4.5. 4.5. You
4.5.
can't call yourself old.
4.5.
See, Lisa, you're the youngest one here.
I am. but I feel so old. I do.
No,
Uh,
I definitely understand that. Yeah. So how are
so
your
maybe
projects coming?
Dan will find that one thing that helps him realize how to get on the right track and get back. We can all hope. I would like to see that, Dan turn himself around and come back to the Bears and be like, I want to appreciate what you guys did for me. You know?
Yeah, yeah,
I would love
definitely.
to see that.
Yeah. I was just sitting here going, where's my white? I need some white. And I looked down in my paint drawer and I was like, that's my other acrylic paint. It's technically acrylic, but like I'd rather use the same kind of acrylic. I don't want to go mixing kinds. It was laying right here the whole time, right next to my other paints.
You
Is
moved it
it
2 inches. I do the same thing. I move something 2 inches, I can't find it.
it's
Ooh,
focused. Focus.
Ooh, nice.
it won't focus. What is that?
It's a bracelet currently. So I've currently got one of each color, and then you go back and you make it look like a braid later. But you
Oh,
just
okay.
so the back is just your standard 2 rows. Um,
Of
and then
green.
of
Yeah.
green, and then the front is a lighter green, a pink, and a yellow.
And you're alternating them. Okay.
I'm alternating them.
Nice. I say like if I look closer to the screen, that'll help me. I'm like,
If I my screen decides to focus on it, maybe. But it's the problem. It's supposed to be a bracelet, and it's about 2 inches long. So I need like 8 or 9 inches for a bracelet. So this is taking.
I was so tempted. Speaking of projects, I'm trying not to start any new projects. But mind you, I just bought the granny square yarn to try with a pattern that is not a granny square. Um, I've also bought bubblegum yarn because I think it'll make really awesome fingerless mittens. And I
So how's the
almost
not starting a new project thing going?
well, I'm not starting them. I'm just buying the yarn.
With all intents and purposes of doing a new project.
You're really leaning hard into that whole buying art supplies and crafting with them are two different hobbies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and I was at the store the other day and they had pool noodles, both thin and fat pool noodles. And as you both know, I think my most recent craft idea for my shop is to make those old gecko backpack pals and other animals out of pool noodles. And I so wanted to buy the pool noodles so that I could do it. I'm like, no.
Oh, I've got this rose. I've got this
Ooh.
tulip. And then I've
Ooh.
mostly got this tulip, but I'm gonna have to alter the shading and highlighting a little bit more later.
Yeah.
But I need it to dry before I finish that. Oh, and I did darken that book, but I'm gonna need to do something highlight with it, highlights and shadows with it. But I'm gonna have to figure that out later. But
Well,
I
I
think I
got
made
my
some progress today.
my scarf from here to here. I increased my scarf from here to here.
That's not bad.
How far are you still behind?
This is the row I'm on is March 24th.
So almost a
So,
whole month.
not 3 weeks, just 3 weeks. It's fine.
Just 3 weeks. It's
Less
fine.
than a month behind.
Okay, look, I've been keeping track of the temperature though, so all I gotta do is just do it.
To be fair, you have been
It's
having a
usually
lot
the
of.
hardest part, isn't it?
You guys know that I'm struggling, and
Yeah, we're not gonna have
No.
book club in 2 weeks because Lisa's got a doctor appointment. she's
Oh
gotta go
yes,
to.
no book club in 2 weeks.
because
So
I got a doctor's appointment to help with all of my issues, hopefully.
our next book club will be on April 30th. Will not be on April 30th because of that, and will be on
May
May
14th?
14th. is what I meant to say.
May 14th, yes.
Which is after Mother's Day. So
Oh, good. Because Mother's Day is gonna be rough. Okay. Yeah, so good. After Mother's
Day's gonna
Day.
be rough this year.
Yeah.
As you guys don't know, our mom passed away last year. We told you guys. Me and Lisa are both wearing our special remembrance necklaces for our mom. A
I
friend
wear it
gave
every
them to
day.
us.
Yep. So,
Uh.
not till after that.
Nope. And then we'll learn more about Jo and her house for her boys, even though it's called Little Men, not Jo's Boys, which is why I tried to call it there. You held that face for so long, I thought you froze. I thought I froze.
Nope. My brain froze.
I think the
Both
fourth
of
one's called Joe's
No,
Boys.
I was
isn't it?
like, did I freeze?
No. I think we should try to do 2 chapters for the next time.
Yeah, I think two
This
was
one's
fine.
difficult
Four
because
was-
it's like 1 chapter is too long and 2 chapters. I mean, 2 chapters is too long and 1 chapter isn't long enough.
Yeah,
But we got
it's
4
kind of like
weeks,
an
so-
odd in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do a chapter and a half. That just get really awkward to keep track of.
No, full chapters,
No.
please. Full chapters.
I think if we try to stay focused, we can get through 2 chapters in an hour.
What's that?
I think if we get more members, we may have to cut it down to 1 chapter.
What's focus? Don't understand.
Staying on one topic.
We adjust on your
incredible.
camera to make things sharper.
Oh, that! The thing that your camera wasn't doing.
Right.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps everything up for this time, unless you guys have anything else to say.
No.
Good.
Then I will close our live